Meghan burned the divorce papers as soon as she discovered Harry's rebranding ability. I need the palace PR machine. Why won't rebranding work for Meghan, but might for Harry? A real estate metaphor. Harry is the equivalent of a grand old palace that's gotten run down over the years. Meghan is the Montecito Olive Garden. As we all saw Buckingham Palace when it was at its best and can picture it being grand again. It may even have structural issues, but it's got history, location, etc. It's possible that a very experienced person could bring it back to good condition, and we are all fans of seeing that type of redemption of things that have good bones. It may always have a dark history, but it's within the realm of possibility that it becomes rehabilitated to something worthwhile. He's more like Buckingham Palace. It's cold and musty, and nobody really wants to stay there in the condition it's in, but you can't deny its significance, and so theoretically there's a redemption arc there. Meghan is a house in a McMansion subdivision. It's showy and costs a lot, but is made of cheap drywall and copies trends from other actual cultures, like the Tuscan nightmare in Montecito. It's got plumbing issues, too many toilets, and doesn't seem attractive because it's just so obviously ostentatious and ariviste. It doesn't make sense, and it's tacky. It's in a terrible location, has a shady Russian past, was bought at cut-rate prices, and is uninsurable, and after a while becomes an albatross burdening the owner. No matter what, it's never going to appreciate in value. Nothing can change that. It's a fire and flood and landslide risk in an isolated area, made poorly, and eventually going to be a teardown. One insider expressed his opinion. If he's like Buckingham Palace, and you can't deny his significance, that makes him so much worse. He had a duty to his country, the monarchy, and his family. If there are problems to be fixed, there are better ways to do that from the inside, without exposing the monarchy, his grandmother, the government, and his own brother to the very media he wants to shut down. He's exposed himself as extremely self-centered, lazy, ignorant, and entitled. Madam may have put a light on him, but this is all him. He's showing us how he really thinks and feels. The only reason we don't know who he really is until now is that the palace PR machine cleaned up all his messes and made him seem like a semi-normal human being. Turns out he was a spoiled, spiteful, entitled half-wit the whole time. The funny thing is, he was exposed as that repeatedly before Meg and this media spun it. He was granted the prerogatives of a 15-year-old well past 30, while his brother was held to the standards of a 50-year-old at the same age. People magazine reported him throwing broken bottles and groping girls. His trashing of pubs and being banned from different pubs were reported. We all saw the Vegas photos, and those were the sanitized version. One report of his relationship with Cressida described them both as young for their age, spoiled, and entitled. She grew up. He didn't. There were photographs of the bloody sides of his polo pony. Playing polo one time, he used his mallet to drive a ball directly at an authorized press pen. He could have killed someone. At one polo match, an opponent lit into Harry as the biggest asshole, and guess who apologized? William. I think the family cleaned him up, and I also think the media cleaned him up. A lot of the media used to think Harry was the sort of royal they would be if they were in the family, and refused to acknowledge the real pathology of his behavior. They pretended his viciousness was high spirits. They pretended his nasty impulsivity was the charm. The only way I believe the British royal family owes him is they enabled this monster all along, fed the beast instead of really grappling with what was there. Probably his youth at the start enabled denial, then it moved on to young for his age. He should never ever get taxpayer money and never ever be part of public life. No PR strategy should ever be attempted. If King Charles wants to feed and clothe him, fine, but off camera and away from the spotlight forever. Meghan bashed her family as well. She has no contact with anyone in her family aside from her mother. Her mother still serves a purpose. Both Harry and Meghan bashed his family, but they have maintained contact with those who allow contact. They're still clinging to anything they can get from the Bank of King Charles. The only reason Meghan doesn't have any contact with her family is because they have nothing useful to offer her. The royal family is still useful, even if it's only to bash them. They were both in this together. They're each other's echo chamber. I think anyone could make a decent argument one way or the other about who's worse, but at the end of the day, they both trash their families for their own ends. They're two peas in a toxic pod. Neither one can take the high road or the low road for that matter. They both went straight into the gutter when they went after their families. Granted, the Markles aren't perfect, but it didn't need to go down the way it did. The only reason Harry looks worse is because we have seen him interact with his family his entire life. We know he was loved. We don't have a public record of Meghan with her family, but we do have her own words from her prior to meeting Harry, and she adored her father. Her father is a man of limited means, and he spoiled her. He paid for a private school education and a top-tier university education. As I said, I think they are both as bad as the other. If Meghan's family had anything to offer them, they would have tried to coerce what they wanted from them as well. If they didn't get it, they would have written books and given interviews as well. King Charles will always make sure Harry has a roof over his head, a therapist, and his basic needs met. I doubt Prince William will ever have anything to do with him again. They both were awful to William's family, but the worst thing Harry did was allow Meghan to violate William's children's privacy, and that is unforgivable. From a PR perspective, the Sussexes have a major problem now. It's becoming trendy to bash the Sussexes, and that is dangerous for their brand. People who bash the Sussexes trend on social media, get good press coverage, and improve their own image. YouTubers are getting subscribers en masse. It is becoming very profitable to bash the Sussexes, and once the ball starts rolling, it's hard to stop. What do you think about Harry and Meghan's rebranding ability? Who has more potential? Let us know your thoughts below in the comment section. We hope you found this video helpful. Don't forget to leave a like, share, and subscribe to the channel if you like it. Thank you for watching this newsletter. See you in the next videos. Goodbye.